placing in the neighborhood of about 50% of the total rolling population in North America. This obviously is not going to continue. It can't continue. But what's crazy is, if you look at the market in general, the market on average wanted to be about an aftermarket of about 225,000 vehicles, right? That was the regression to mean. That was the return to a normal market. If you take the last 10 years, let's just take the last 8 years, the regression to the mean, the normal market's probably going to be in the 260 range, right? So the opportunities will continue to be there. The average age of trucks as a result of this is coming down. Trade cycles are up. And a lot of this growth, particularly 2018 and now we're seeing in 2019, is being driven by long haul. The great news about that, we now have a kick-ass product to compete in long haul. And hopefully everybody agrees, because we're seeing fantastic success with the Anthem. But again, this just shows you the scope of what's been happening in the market. It's been crazy, and it's been a good time to be in the truck business. So hopefully everybody's selling a lot of trucks, making a lot of money, making hay when the sun shines.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you. Okay, fine. Thanks, Lee. What we saw in 2018 results, and this may be a little repetitive, order intake on our sleeper business went up 221% with the Anthem against the market that was up 150%. So we outpaced the market and taking share. 18% retail sales, 27% trucks produced. Okay, that's great. That was last year. This year, we're forecasting a 314,000 truck market. We've got a backlog of 20,000 trucks. We really don't have a backlog of 20,000 trucks anymore. This is about a month and a half old. Our backlog's about 18,000 trucks right now. We are going to build and ship, these numbers stay in the room, but we're going to build and ship close to 29,000 trucks this year. In the US and Canada, we're going to do about 26,000 and a half. We have in the neighborhood of, 4,000 open slots for the rest of the year. 2,000 of those have been allotted to dealers. If you haven't seen the note yet, 2 days ago I sent out a note. We opened up another 2,000 slots for first come, first serve orders across the spectrum of the entire availability of product. So you've got day cabs, you've got sleepers, you've got LRs, you've got MRs, Derek Rose, sorry John, and granites, all available, another 2,000 slots, starting builds in June. So some limited production June, July, more in August, and then certainly more still in the fourth quarter. So if you have deals that are on the hook, but your dealership didn't have allotment, or you didn't know where you're going to find the trucks, you now have availability of the trucks. The note went out 2 days ago. You should see it on the TV. 2019 priorities. Before I get to this, let's talk about this is where I'll go off script. So Q1. Q1 I said was a good quarter for us. I might have been in line a little bit. It wasn't great from a market share perspective. We ended Q1 at 6% market share. That sucks. And that market share, according to Wards, is down 1.1%. Year over year. Part of the reason is because we came into the year with light inventory, and we struggled in January and February to get trucks out of the factory. In March, we blew it out of the water. We shipped over 3,000 trucks in March. And we're going to ship north of 2,000 trucks a month here on after. This month we'll probably ship 2,500. So what does that mean? It means there's 8,000 trucks, give or take, in dealer inventory today. Now, various stages, either in transport, at a bodybuilder, at the dealership, something like that. There's 8,000 trucks out there. Of those 8,000 trucks, 65% of them are less than 90 days old. 120 days old, I'm lying. Less than 120 days old. Our average turn for a truck is 105 days. So what does that tell me? That tells me that we should have an unbelievable Q2. Because of that 120, of less than 120 days, plus whatever else is out there, 70% of it is marked as sold. It means it's got a customer name on it. So now what we got to do is we've got to focus, you and your dealerships and others, and the regions will be very focused on that, of turning those transfers into retails, right? And really all we're talking about, assuming that there's no water in that order board, is then finding customers for the other 30% that don't have names on them. And in a market when we're trying to understand and hearing from the dealer council and more, a market that has not slowed down on quote activity or demand, we should be getting those out the door. That's what's going to help our market share grow. We didn't have the full pipeline of available products through Q1 to get our market share where it needed to be. The second challenge that we have in our market share, so first challenge, first thing you're going to hear a lot of, getting trucks over the curb. The second challenge that we're experiencing as it relates to market share, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, is just the product mix. I told you we're down 1.1% year over year, according to boards, but if you look at pulp data and segmentation, latest information we have is February, we're actually up in every segment that we play in. The reason our overall market share is down, unfortunately, is mainly because the growth in the total market is coming in long haul, where we're the weakest, right? So long haul, as a percent of total sales year over year, has gone from 43% to 50%. So 50% of that 314,000 is going to be long haul trucks, right? We're a 1.7% share player in long haul trucks. We're only building 24 a day sleepers and 18 to 19 a day on 70-inch raised roofs. So we're a little constricted with what we're able to do there. So our long haul share is going to be impacted by what we're able to build. But that being said, every other segment, including long haul, by the way, because last year over year, we were 1.3, now we're 1.7. COE, we've gone from 43 to 49. Straight truck rated equal to 10, we've gone from 16.9 to 19.4. So big improvements there. And straight truck, or excuse me, in what am I missing? Day cabs. Regional haul, we've gone from 8.1 to 9.2. So we're seeing improvement in share growth in every segment that we have. We're just not participating in a large way in the largest portion of the market. That will change as we try to rebalance the line. And there's a lot of discussion about taking the second half of the year and building more tractors and less granites. We seem to think that we've got enough granites in the inventory and under build. There's 3,889 trucks that are granites out there in dealer inventory, of which 72% of them are listed as sold. But that's a lot of granites. And so the thought may be that we might need more over-the-road trucks or more day cabs, and we're working to see if we can rebalance the line. So it was, as I said, it was not a great quarter from a holistic standpoint if you look at market share overall, but the trend, when you dissect it, is actually very positive. So thank you for that. We'll make sure that you have these numbers so that when you're talking to your customers about market share and our performance, you can relate to them or reference them, excuse me. So 2019, continuing, further stabilize production and meet delivery requirements. I will tell you that I believe that that's happening. The reason we felt comfortable releasing the 2,000 slots that we did on Tuesday was because we feel we didn't need those slots anymore to act as buffers for potential disruption. So that's why they're out there. Right? The plant is performing. Like I said, they delivered 3,073 trucks out of that plant last month. That was a record for the month. And there's nothing really major stopping us from getting there on a monthly basis to hit our targets and meet demand. There was a notice sent out yesterday that you'll see we've got some supply issues with Mack axles. We're working through those. And trying to make sure that we're not disrupting builds as much as we possibly can. We'll continue to pursue our simple yet brilliant strategy. Nobel Peace Prize economics strategy. Sell more trucks to increase the rolling population so we can sell more parts through our dealer network and sell more labor hours, thereby strengthening the value chain and maximizing share of wallet and profits. Mine's our phone. But that's where we need you, right? We got to get the trucks in the population. Sell the entire portfolio. So we need to make sure that we have our share of wallet with our customers, and this is being a transportation solutions provider, not just selling a truck, not just selling an asset. New truck sales drives a lot of this, but we need to then capture the parts, we need to capture the service, we need to make sure that we're playing at the dealer level and with Arrow with used trucks. Leasing and rental is a huge opportunity, extended coverage sales, connectivity, and we need to take advantage of all of these. You might have heard me say rule of fives before. It's a bank thing. When they did the study, a bank, basically a group of banks got together, this is maybe dated, but what they said was, if a customer has 5 products with you, so let's say bank account, or checking account, savings account, retirement fund, housing, or a house loan, and a financing your home, that customer will withstand certain levels of pain because switching to a different bank is actually more painful than handling the pain that you get from your current supplier. Not that we want to sell a bunch of people a bunch of stuff and then stop giving them service, but we want to make sure that we're taking advantage and then we have a toolbox to use. So I urge you to continue to learn about what's available to us, continue to learn about particularly connectivity and how we can monetize that and the value that that brings to our customers so that we can continue to bring them into the fold so that they get the sense that there's a sense that they need us as a partner in order to be successful in their business. We're going to nurture relationships with current customers and establish relationships with conquest customers. So obviously we need to grow our customer base. We have a very, very strong retention rate, about 86, 87%. We do a pretty good job of filling the 13% to 15% we lose every year with new customers or that don't buy this year, and then we fill them. We don't do a very good job of conquesting incremental business beyond that and taking business from other OEs. So this year is a little difficult year to do that because we are capacity constrained, but we want to make sure that we're setting the structure so that when next year hits, and by the way, not for publication, but next year we're forecasting about a 245 market, US, Canada, Mexico. When next year hits and there's not capacity constraint within the entire OEM channel, we're going to have to fight for that business along with everybody else. Because no one's going to say, oh, it's a slower market, you go ahead and have that customer, right? So we're going to have to continue to build these relationships and win these customers, not only locally, but nationally. Target market shares for the year for 2019, we're shooting for 2.5. Regional haul, we're shooting for 10. Straight truck, greater than equal to 22.5. And then LCOE 53.9. So the long haul, definitely doable. We'll have the trucks to do it. We'll have the perception from the market to get there. Regional haul, no brainer. The straight truck, greater than equal to 10, is a personal vendetta I have. I joined the company in 2016. 15 years prior, the Granite was the #1 selling nameplate ever. Now it's #3. So that's not a legacy I want to have. Certainly, I don't think it's a legacy anyone in this room wants to have either. We need to take back our #1 position in straight truck greater than equal to. Kenworth passed us, and then Peterbilt passed us last year. So 22.5 may get us there, but 24, 25 sure is a nice ring to it. And then we did see we saw a big shift 2 years ago in our COE business. Peterbilt really took it to us in some instances. We won the majority of that back, so thank you for that. Actually, in January we were north of 50%, and as I said, this year we were 49 something through February. We'll continue to grow that, and we have a very strong backlog with this. So what does 2019 look like? We'll see 40% increase in sleeper sales. We'll see a 30% increase in retail sales. Right now it's only 7% through first quarter, even though deliveries are up or shipments are up 55%. And then we'll see a 30% increase in annual production. So we are meeting the challenge of the market. As I said, the order board is full, as well as the pipeline. I've got some recent customers in. So anyway, there was a slide. When I first got on in 2016, April of 20, well, announced April, May of 2016. My third day at the job was actually at one of these, which is very fantastic. But as I started visiting dealers, I kept getting this chart, the same chart. You guys might have seen it in several offices. It shows the MAC market share, the Bulldog growing year over year through the 90s into the 2000s, right? And I got sick of this thing being handed to me, right? So our goal in making history is to create our own chart, right? That goes above the 17% that they saw way back when Mac was Mac, right? 10 years ago is always the best years of Mac, it seems like, regardless of where you are on the calendar. In 1970, the 50s were the greatest year of the Mac. In the 90s, the 70s were the greatest year of the Mac. Now in the late 2000s, the teens, it was like 10 years ago was the greatest year of the Mac. The greatest years of Mac are ahead of us. This is what it looks like. There is no limitation to what that 2023 number is going to look like. All I know is it's going to be bigger than it is today, and it's going to be bigger than historically it has been. So thanks everybody here for your efforts, and this is the group along with others that are going to get us there. John.
Okay, thank you very much, Jonathan. So we're going to spend the next few minutes walking through an update on what we're doing with marketing today. And thought I would start with one of the main pillars of our mission. What are we tasked with doing? And to us, one of the primary things that we're tasked with doing is driving awareness, interest, and consideration of Mac and the products and services that we offer and the strength of our network and what we're doing with uptime and all of that. But in that process, generating qualified leads for you guys. This is sort of that last piece to us is really, something that's basically revolutionary in our market in particular, our industry. But something that's been going on the consumer side for some time. And today I'm going to walk you through, kind of exactly how we're doing this, because I want you to understand how robust the process is behind these leads as we start to distribute them out to you so that you will engage with them, okay? And if you look at this is the way we look at the funnel, if you will. So awareness at the top, coming down through interest, and then to consideration. And again, consideration for us today, we measure that in terms of qualified leads generated. And we have metrics around every piece of this funnel to measure how we're doing. And basically those metrics are around two things. The degree to which customers engage with us in our content, in our activities, at trade shows, etc. And the degree to which they tell us about themselves in that process, which we call self-identifying, right? And I'll walk through how we're doing all of this in a little bit. But one of the things we're addressing in doing this is this fundamental shift in where customers are entering the funnel today. It used to be that when a customer was thinking about a truck purchase, you guys might be the first stop for them. They might come into the deal and say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a truck, what's going on with Mac? Today, by the time you see them, they are all the way down into that consideration set. They've probably eliminated an OEM or two already. They have a really good idea already about what they want to buy. And what do you think they're doing to get there? What are they doing until you see them? Anybody? Research. Bingo. And where are they doing that research? Online. What do we all do when we're considering a major purchase? What's the first thing you do? Go online, right? And why would we think our customers are doing anything different? So what we've done is spend the last several years standing up everything you see, and it's probably tough to read, on the right side of that marketing infinity diagram that we use. And basically it's all the digital piece. Digital ads, social media, content marketing, email marketing, the partnerships we've established. All of that we've stood up in the last several years in response to where customers are and how they're making their purchasing decisions today. We still do everything on the left, what we call traditional marketing. We're still doing trade shows, customer events, print ads, brochures, some direct mail. We're still doing all of that. But now we have this really robust toolbox to work with, and we're making sure that we pull every lever that we have available to us. So, one of the things we talk about a lot is, what does good look like in terms of this generating leads process? And quite frankly, we don't have any benchmark, because there's nobody else in our industry doing it. So what we've done is sort of established a random target. What if we were able to generate 1,000 qualified leads for you guys per year, say starting in 2020? And then we just penciled out some math. It's not very sophisticated, but it's basically what's the average profit that you guys make on a truck? And what would that mean for the network as a whole if we were able to generate 1,000? And then just imagine if we did 5,000 a year. So this is the journey that we're on. The only thing I ask of you guys is to help us manage the expectations. Because 1,000 leads across 300 plus locations means that some folks may not see any leads, and some may just see a handful of leads. But if you look at it from an enterprise-wide perspective, what that can mean to us as a group together, this stuff can become pretty powerful. And again, I'll walk through what's behind this as we move through this. The two audiences that we're going after primarily today are purchase decision makers and drivers. And why drivers? Any guesses?
Right now, they have a choice of, they have more of a, I don't know the word, to sort of pick what they want.
Yes, exactly. Yes. I hear it all the time. You know, you guys tell me all the time. You hear it from customers. If I could get more drivers, I would buy more trucks. So the driver input into the purchase decision is becoming increasingly stronger. So we want to make sure that we're influencing them so that they can influence the folks in their companies making those decisions if they're not the ones making them, which in many cases they are in an owner-operator setup, right? So those are the two audiences we're going in. On the driver influencer side, we just kicked this thing off recently, and you'll start to see more on it in Growler. We'll send out a communication to the whole network, but I want to talk to you guys about it first. It's something we're calling hashtag Maconomics. And what we've done is we've taken two driver influencers, Jamie Hagan and Joel Morrow. These guys are really active in social. They've got strong followings. Jamie's a little more colorful, to put it mildly. Earl is more, Joel's more about the technical side. He's a techno geek, right? And what we did is we put each of these guys in brand new anthems, HE Plus packages. We equipped them with content generation kits, as we call them, including GoPros, cameras, all of that. And for the next year, they're going to be out there, social media stuff about their experiences with the truck, communicating what they're doing with the trucks. And it's already starting to flow. So if you do hashtag Maconomics, and again, I will get you the links to all of their social sites, but hashtag Maconomics to start. Hagen really recently posted something out there. They also have 6x2 liftables on, right? And he's a bolt hauler. So he recently reported that coming back empty, with that axle up, he's getting 11 miles per gallon. So this is in line with what we just talked about, making sure we're reaching both of those key audiences, purchase decision makers and drivers. So super excited about this. Follow these guys if you will. Hopefully you're all aware of the resource hub that we have out there on the Mac website, where you can go in and readily share this stuff off of that resource hub. Share it with your customers. It's going to be powerful stuff. So let's look at sort of, at a high level, kind of how the lead generation process works for us today. So if you go left to right, we start with multi-channel promotion, both traditional and modern, right? Print ads, digital ads, social media, all of that stuff. Driving customers to what we call a central landing page on the web. Okay? That web page looks like it's on our website, but it sits in an automated marketing tool called Eloquai. Don't worry about the name. But what Eloquai is, it's on, always on, 24/7, monitoring the traffic on these dedicated landing pages, comparing that against the profiles that we have on more than 250,000 industry contacts inside of that tool, updating those profiles, right, based on how deep they go on the content that we serve up to them, and how deep they go on telling us about themselves in the process. So as they're engaging with the content, we're serving them up forms, we're asking them to, hey, give us an email address to start. Now, that may not sound like a big deal, right? An email address. Wow, we got an email address. I don't know about you guys, but I don't give my email address up very regularly. And why not? You're going to get marketed to. So just to get the email address, we think is a pretty big deal, actually. But then what we do, again, as we move to get forward together with them, we ask them to tell us more. Okay, we got an email. Who are you? Who do you work for? What's your role in the company? What brands of trucks do you run? And then what Eloquai does is it scores them on those two axes of the degree to which they engage in the content and the degree to which they self-identify, when they hit the thresholds for the scoring inside the tool, today, now, we have a way with the advent of Ziff, the rollout of Ziff, to efficiently and effectively get those leads out to you guys and monitor, hopefully, if you report back to the tool on the activity, monitor what happens. And the way we're doing it right now is all the sales managers have been trained on Ziff, and it's their job to receive these leads, report through the tool, assign them to the sales folks as they see appropriate, and away we go. Now we're just ramping this up now. We just got Ziff coming into this year. So it's going to go slow, okay? Because we want to make sure too that we do a really good job of making sure these leads are good when we send them to you, so that they're worth your time. Okay, so that's the process. It's a very robust process. So if you see a marketing lead come to you through a sales manager, please engage with it, because we're already seeing the results so far, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. So how many of you are familiar with Robot? Please let me see a lot of hands. So Robolife was an 8-episode video series that we produced in-house last year and rolled out through 2 channels, Amazon Prime and Robolife.tv, which is our own channel that we set up. It wasn't just 8 shiny videos. There was that same kind of sophisticated marketing ecosystem behind those videos that we just walked through. So again, what did it look like? We ran multi-channel promotion, digital ads, social ads, print ads, all of that, driving folks to this central landing page called Robolife.tv, where they could watch the videos, but then we also start serving them up increasingly robust business content at the same time. And ask them to self-identify in the process and walk through that same process we just walked through. And what kind of results are we seeing? So here's our funnel again. This is just all related to Robolife. So you can see at the top, awareness. Okay, we don't get that excited about that, honestly. I mean, it's nice, all these views and clicks and all of that, which all used to be all you had to talk about as a marketer, honestly. But what we're really interested, if you move your way down, is how many potential leads did we generate in this series? And we got 5,000 people who at least gave up their email address. And now we've got them all in nurture campaigns, the process we just walked through, right? We're serving them up more and more content, asking them to self-identify, and ultimately we'll identify who are qualified to use work you guys spend your time with, and those will go out to sales. You with me so far? All right. The other source of leads that we have today is the Mac configurator. Now we stood this up, hopefully you guys are all aware of it, it's on the website. It's not just an engagement tool. It's a lead generation tool. Because when a customer goes through that process, it's not really specking the truck like to the point of PSP, but it's at least you can go through, pick major components, pick colors and all of that. At the end, we say, would you like to discuss this with a Mac dealer? And if they say yes, they don't go through the scoring model or anything. To us, if someone spent that much time configuring that truck and in the end they raise their hand to talk to you, that's a qualified lead we're sending on to you guys. And so far, the only leads that we've distributed to the field, we've about 70 out there so far, have all come through the configurator. Because we're still working on that scoring model in L4. We want to make sure it's perfect before we start flowing those two. But this, and the results so far with these things coming out of that configurator are really strong. And we're going to continue to optimize that and make it more and more of a powerful tool so we can continue to generate more leads for you. Now I say it will work because we are in the infancy of it. But here's some quotes from dealers already working these leads. They might be tough for you guys to read, so I'll read them. The first one from a dealer out in the West. After meeting with the lead, he ordered 5 new anthems and shared he would like to order 6 more. He's a fairly new startup company, was running Freightliner and KW before him. Next one, dealer in the Central region. I met with Mike last Thursday, quoting him 3 granites may turn to 6. Southwest dealer received a marketing lead from the Anthem configurator last week, currently working on a deal. And the last one, another dealer in the Southwest, just landed a 2-truck conquest deal there. These are the results we're seeing so far. So the 70 we've sent out so far, 45 of them are in process that are being worked, 25 of them are pending. meaning there's no action taken yet. And what we're doing right now is we're calling and saying, okay, what's going on with this lead? And reach out. So we're super excited about this guy, and we're super excited about what we can do together on it, and really is sort of a quantum leap in marketing from just being able to talk about views and impressions and circulation into driving sales pipeline, and that's what we want to measure. So where's Larry Serrano? I'm going to invite Larry up. So Larry's the sales manager at Vanguard Truck Sales. This is his prom picture. But Larry has really done an awesome job at Vanguard in Houston of transforming that sales effort from, call it a community of farmers to a community of hunters. And he's received so far 6 to 8 leads, so I just want to have Larry come up and talk a little bit about his experience so far with those leads and his approach to managing them, and anything else you'd like to add.
Yeah, thanks, John. So my method with the leads, I was previously with another OEM, and we had a big focus on when you get these leads, what you do. So my method is, I receive the lead through Zip, and I email that customer introducing myself as a sales manager, and whoever's floor date is, I say, Armando Garcia will be contacting you very shortly. And if you have any problems or questions through the process, here's my information. And then I ask them how they want to be contacted. And I'd say out of the 5 or 6 leads, everyone said, don't call me, text or email. The millennial, second generation, they've already done the research. So when I send it to my salesman, I say, hey, this is this guy's profile. Kind of look in Eloqua and see what he's been done all his time on. And just say, hey, don't call him, don't start off on the wrong foot. Send him a text. And one deal that we closed, we sold the triaxle dump. I think it closed within 7 days. Got him approved, first time buyer. So, and then when the leads are bad, we provide the feedback back to you that, hey, this guy was just messing around, and that's our job. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on. Yeah, so, I mean, that's exactly the kind of thing we want to see happen. You know? And it will happen, and I think as we prove this process out over time, you know, more and more activity like that, more and more success. So what do we do? Where do we go from here? So we got to continue running the campaigns up front, right? We got to continue to get that content out there, get folks, more and more folks into the funnel, nurture the ones that are already positioned at the marketplace. It is doing very, very well in the industry. Customers are running it. We're noticing fuel economy improvements. It has lower power consumption based on improved loop flow. We laser weld components within the axle to make it lighter. And it's positioned very, very well at MAC. It should provide your customer with under a year payback. Now, I've talked to several of you over the last couple of days about axles. And it's kind of a mixed bag. I have some of you guys saying, yep, we sell a lot of Meritor axles in logging, construction. I have other dealers saying, don't sell any Meritor product. It's all MAC axles. But let me just remind you that when you're out dealing with other OEMs and competing with them, more than likely they're going to have Meritor axles on. So keep that in mind of how Meritor is positioned, especially with our 46, 160, and 164 products. It is very well known in the industry for logging and construction. And this year I'm happy to report that we actually put a $100 incentive on the Bulldog program. Of course, Meritor automatic slide adjusters are in there, $10 then. And then finally, we added RPL drive lines. A lot of guys might have the perception that the RPL drive line is an on-highway drive line because it's permanently lubricated. For those of you who do not know, this is actually created for the off-highway market. So it's actually, we're starting to do a better job marketing it as a vocational application, and we're doing very, very well in the industry. It's interesting to see how the marketplace is starting to accept this. Out of all the drive lines that we've shipped, I would say that probably 60% of our drive lines are now RPL over the greasable. So with that, I just want to just finish off with 3 points. First of all, do not forget about our Drive Force group. Hopefully you know all the reps. If you don't, let myself or Amanda Phillips, who's my boss, know. You can be in contact with them. But they can help you with training, with speccing,
with service issues and so forth. And then finally, I just want to thank you. Thank you very much for allowing me to be on this trip. Thank you for all your business. We greatly appreciate it.
Good morning, how you doing? Listen, the couple things I wanted to talk about, just a little bit of heritage, a little bit of history, which I think is kind of exciting. But if you look at Michelin, Michelin got started with two brothers back in 1889, and then I think the McAvoys got started right around the 1900s. He goes back with companies. So what we're going to do is we're going to wind the clock back. We have done that. We're going to wind it forward to right around 1981, and that's when I got started with Michelin. So I'm pleased to say that April 6th, I just turned my 38th year with Michelin, and an awful lot of that was starting. My first job was in Western Pennsylvania. And guess what was out there in Western Pennsylvania, where you had all these triaxle dumps going to the power plants, etc. That was basically Mack trucks. So I got ingrained a long time ago out in Western PA and out to that whole bit, calling on Mack dealers and promoting them, etc. What we're going to talk about a little bit today with the Michelin is PSI. And it's evolved more than you might think of PSI, you might think of air pressure. We also talk about with PSI the product, the service. We've expanded that to innovation and also technology. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. Starting off with a little bit of a product here, and it's I get excited about this because I think it's probably, if not, it would be one of the strongest warranties that we have in the business. And of course, when you talk about the Michelin product, you are talking about a premium, but this would go hand in hand if you're looking at something that would be for fuel efficiency. You can see these products are SmartWay approved. And this would be the Excellent Energy Z. You have the Excellent Energy D is the David, and also you have the XP Energy Plus. So these are available in the Mack Data Book. And what they have is a 7-year, believe it or not, they got a 7-year, 700,000 3-retread warranty. And that's available replacement through the regular, let's say, Michelin dealer when they sell it or national accounts. But also, and a lot of people don't realize this, that's available OE. So, for example, if you sell that on a Mack truck, it's there. And the other thing is, some people might say, well, you know, the DOT, the tire, by the time it got delivered, it could be very well, let's say, a year old. That warranty goes into effect when that truck is sold. All right, that's when it starts. So that one, once you retread that, you retread the drive tread designs, fuel efficiency, but it's also in effect that they're going to retread that on a trailer. So if you have any questions on that, it's available on our website, and you can see some PDF files that I made a little bit over to the left there. You can pull those up, and they are available. The X1 tire, and this is again on the Mack Bulldog campaign with Michelin. So if you sell one of these, it's going to be it's the same as last year. You're going to have a potential of $30 per tire. And then the other thing is, and a couple people who run my note bought it this past year, was we have a nice little incentive that the #1 salesperson for the first and also the second quarter, they can get a redemption for a certificate, and they can win a set of Michelin passenger light truck tires. So that's a nice little bit too. But why would we be trying to energize, let's say, this X1? A lot of people might say, you know, this came out in the early 2000s. It is precise for certain types of industries, but your weight savings, you're gonna save approximately 200 pounds of cross axle. So you had that as an advantage. You have the fuel savings, and also you have the maintenance itself. So if you take, like, let's say, you know, an 18-wheeler, and you take the tractor and the trailer, let's say you decide to go all X1s. You know what they say, no 18-wheelers allowed? Guess what? Where do you go with it? With the X1, it's a 10-wheeler. They can go, right? No, they can't really go. But also with the braking, right? With the X1 product, cooler braking with the, because you don't have as many components. You don't have to take the tread depths, you don't have to mismatch tread depths, mismatched air pressures, that's eliminated because you're checking one, you don't have to worry about the inside dual. So maintenance is a big advantage also. Emergency road service. We've cut back from, it used to be one of my first sales I ever got with the X1 was at National Capital Park with their products. We had some horror stories. Back then it took 7 hours to get up and running. Now you take a normal dual tire, it's got 2 hours for emergency road service, because most of the dealers have an inventory. It's got 15 minutes longer for an X1, and that's it. And also, you'll see the Line Grip D. So the Line Grip D is a very popular tire. You take the northern tier of the U.S. and also in Canada. And as you can see, we've improved the traction capabilities of that tire relative to the XDN2. Again, this is on the Bulldog campaign, so this is $30 per tire that you can get credit back on this, money-wise. And we have the campaign also, the winners that sell the most of the Line Grip D, the third and the fourth quarters, you're going to be eligible also for redemption on a Michelin passenger like truck coupon that you'll redeem. So we're excited about that. To let you know also, our sales force, the Michelin sales force that's out there, they have a campaign the second and third quarters on X1 product. It's going to be replacement for them, but they're going to be banging on doors trying to stimulate that business with the fleet customers. If you want to try to find out where you can get information, whether it be regular Michelin product or the X1, just go into the MichelinTruck.com, and as you can see, you got a variety of different areas there that you can find. Like, for example, the X1 tires, you got it on the fuel, the weights. You have it on testimonials, videos, etc. And then you also have a tire selector. It's real easy to get in there. We also have, if you're trying to find a Michelin authorized dealer, you can see there you have a Michelin, you can type into your app. You got the Michelin Truck Dealer Locator app available on your mobile, and that's very nice and easy also. This slide goes back to where do we have our support. I think that overall, if you look at the amount of individuals we have that would be sales and also service oriented in the industry, we would probably have on the tire side one of the best. So you can see a screen. Of course, you see my name. I also have a product technical manager, Pat Meisenholder, which Chris Beesick. We try to see him up at the plant on and off, and we actually try to see the people actually at the plant too, which is important. Make a visit up there. Then we have customer service that handles all the transactions that are going into the mounting facility in Westport and all the shipment of the tires. So that would be Dean Gambro. But where the rubber meets the road is we have 150 plus territory managers that are out there in the U.S. And I even go down to our training center with the new hires and also the advanced to try to convince them to get out there and call on the truck dealers. And of course, I'm a little bit biased. I'm trying to encourage them to call on, of course, the Mack dealers. But they're spending about 80% of their time calling on fleets. So there's a great opportunity for them. It's a variety. They would make calls for commercial salesmen, but also medium-sized fleets also, which would be right up your alley. So again, we go back to the product service information and updates. And then also we have engineering support. So I think you've seen some of this also. We will come out if you have a problem, what have you, and we don't charge anything. If you need some assistance with alignments, radio runouts, you had a problem, whether it be with the tires or just the tractor itself, trying to figure out troubleshooting, we definitely are available to do that. So the 30 plus of those out of the market. Thank you very much. We appreciate the business.
Hey, for the partnership in general and for their support of the Bulldog Club, let's give all the suppliers our So we are miraculously right on time, but we're going to go ahead and open it up for questions. If you have any questions for any of the presenters today, go ahead and fire away. We have microphones, one microphone. Christine has it over here, so it'd be great if you could raise your hand and wait for the microphone so we can all hear the question. Everybody wants to get to the pool.
By the way, I have a new rule, specifically for little guys from Texas. I will not be at the pool drinking after 4, so do not expect to find me to get deals done.
So you'll be.
Okay, we have a question way in the back. Wait for Mike.
Thank you. Hello, Roberto Rodriguez from Mexico. Not a question, just a comment. I think it's important. First of all, thank you for inviting and including us playing at major leagues with the best six guys in all North America. I wanted to point this out because it's a huge accomplishment from Mexico. On your representation, Jonathan, it says 151 trucks in Mexico 2018. I just want to point out that it's 2017, those 151, and the growth in 2018 was 42%. We get into 260. I know that is a small number for the group, but it's important for the market. It took us from 0.7 market share, 0.7 to 1.1, and the goal for 2019 is another 26% growth to getting to 350. So I know that the number is small, but again, it's important for our market. So I just wanted to point that out, and thanks again for bringing us here and being part of this. I think the guys that are joining us from the dealers are seeing how important this is, and they will transmit this to the rest of the group.
Thanks for that. And by the way, my apologies. I also noticed that the Australian numbers, Dean, were for 2017. You had 100 something more there, so I've already sent an email.
So because the order books are so far full right now, obviously there's not a whole lot of open slots. One issue that I've had on my side is when an end customer comes to me and says, I want to change the wheel that's on a truck that I ordered 6 months ago because you had a different selection 6 months ago, and then they can't. And they're escalating through their dealer's escalating through the management's going to the corporate level, and they can't change something about their truck. Is there a hard and fast rule? That's question number one. Number two is there a frozen fence within that of a timeline? And three, how do I jump over that fence specifically?
No fence jump. The answer to the question is yes and yes. There is a hard and fast rule. Wheels are not part of that hard and fast rule, so we need to figure that out. Chris is sitting here, maybe he sits around that every day and can correct me here. We established, as everybody probably here is aware, a new set of business rules within last year that were much more stringent in how we managed the order board because our order board needed stability, which it didn't have. Our average truck, and maybe this is too much of these, but our average order, whether it was a sold order or a spec or a stock order, the specs changed on average 3 times over the course of when the truck was ordered to prior to being built, and it just created so much confusion within the plan and an inability for efficiency. So we engage new business rules. There are absolutely spec changes you can make. I think it's 14 weeks out. The hard and fast rules are, at least at this point, no transmission changes. You can't go from an M-drive to an E, to an M-drive. We lightened up on the engine changes, actually. You can do that. And then I think those were really the hard and fast rules. Now, yeah, so now there are fees to change, spec change fees, certain per line item up to a specific amount per order, but you shouldn't be getting a roadblock on wheels, unless it's inside of, I believe, 15 weeks.
15 weeks.
I believe so, yes.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Rocky Loomis from Valpac. Good question for you. On TSP, when you do a quote, is, if you're going to do like a round number, say you're going to sell a truck for $130,000, you have to keep jumping back and forth to see the FET, where if you could just put like 130, it'll calculate the FET in the profit for you. Because jumping back and forth, when you're sitting negotiating with the customer, a lot of times if the truck is, $131,678, they'll say, give me 130. So you have to keep on trying to figure it out in order to get to that calculated price. I'm just wondering if they're going to come up with something for us.
So, and I appreciate, Dean, by the way, your continued support of TSP. I'll get your question in a second. It has gotten, I would say, markedly improved from a usability standpoint from where we started. Is it where we wanted to be today? Absolutely not. So the answer to your question is there is an ongoing user group which involves dealers and dealer salespeople and dealer sales managers that are continuing to work on particularly the usability and interface. And I would say, Rocky, get with the region, your RVP, so that they can submit these changes, because we have regular updates and releases where we try to address those pain points as best we can. So as it relates to TSP, as you all have probably become aware, it's here to stay, right? And it does continue to get better. We are seeing more green TSP trucks on the order board, whereas before it was 15% of the orders, it's now about 35 to 40% of the orders. Those don't require CAs, they don't require the back and forth that's necessary. However, we know that there's things to fix. We know that when you change quantities, it means a new quote. We know when you change specs, it means additional CAs if in fact that stuff happens and it requires CAs. So we continue to receive feedback, we continue to update and make it better as we head down the road. And I will remind everybody, as miserable as TSP is, we have received somewhere in the neighborhood about 28,000 orders from TSP since we implemented it. So at least we are eventually getting the orders in, and I think the turnaround time from the CA standpoint is we're hitting our marks when it comes to 24 clock hours for the majority of them, 48 clock hours for the overwhelming majority of them. Those really difficult ones certainly take a little bit longer, but it is focused, even though I didn't bring it up today, it is one of the key focuses and remains a focus for us.
Yes, where are we at with offering online tag axles?
Actually progressing nicely. As you knew, we launched the, I think it was the 13.5, and it was only one axle that we allowed, and then the other axles had to go through. I don't have it in front of me, I apologize, we'll have to get some more information to you. But we are releasing additional axles, as I think was mentioned earlier today, with additional weights. I think we're gonna have a 20K, and it'll be more than one if it's not already out there. And then now we're pursuing an 8K as well. And we want to try to get as many online as we possibly can and not in the CAC or at dealer level, because we understand the competitiveness there or lack thereof when we need to do it outside our factory. So we're seeing advancements and improvements, and you'll see additional configurations released as we get them engineered.
I understand we're doing that as pusher axle, but I'm actually talking about strictly tag axle.
I'll have to get back to you with specifics on what the plan is. Again, everything that we want to do, including on Anthems, which we're not offering today, is we want all those pushers, liftables, tags available at the factory. So working on a menu there, it's not answering everything, but we're trying to get there for flexibility. Are we done?
Go to the beach. One housekeeping note before we let you go. Tonight's event, don't take your golf carts, okay? It's too far away and it's too dangerous. So come here, we'll have shuttles here, so we'll all meet here at 7 o'clock tonight, shuttle out from here.